Hello everyone and welcome to the FRS GT Series tonight here in Monza, where we have a very wet session ahead of us tonight. I'm your host Roy Waller, and coming up we have got 45 minutes of sprint racing action as 16 drivers will take to the grid for tonight's race. But as we prepare to get started, first things first is we will take you through the Drivers' Championships. So for the overall pro split, we have still got Matthias Pentilla leading the way on 109 points, followed by Kieran Hudson behind on 97 points. And then in third is Gabriel Gonçalves with 81 points. So a little bit of a gap appearing between the front-running drivers there, and Matthias Pentilla with a healthy lead with just 3 races remaining for the end of the championship. Then in the silver split, we have got Teemu Karppinen leading the way on 99 points, followed by Khalid Ramadan on 87 points and Conor McDermott on 74 points. And we have a bit of a closer top 3 in the AM split, with Brad Spitt leading the way, followed by Lewis Williams, just 17 points behind on 93 points. And then we have got Garley just behind Williams on 90 points. So second place in the AM split is probably one of our closest at the lead of any of those splits, as our drivers get ready for the start of this race. I'll just quickly take you through our grid as it stands. Apologies. As we have got on pole position, we have got Marvin Helgert. We have Gabriel Gonçalves, Matthias Pentilla in third place, followed by Spike. We have Tom Lightbody, Garley, Amez, McDermott, Actonitz, Monteginio, Spitt. We then have Karppinen, Williams, Morganshaw, Wanda. And they will lead us away for their formation lap. And then we will be getting ready for our 45-minute sprint race here at Monza. And as we go around the formation lap, just fill any of you who are maybe new to the FRS GT Series in. So this is a 10 race championship. Each race 45-minute sprint race with no pit stops. We have qualifying in the middle of the week, so it's a numerous sessions of pre-qualifying, so the drivers don't have to dedicate too much of their time out of their schedule. And then on the Sunday, we just have the race session based on that pre-qualifying. As we've got Teemu Karppinen in the pit lane right now. Not sure what has happened there. No instance being picked up by race control, so can only assume it was a choice for Teemu Karppinen to head to the pit lane, but that will put them to the back of this 15-car pack tonight and will make the upcoming race that much more difficult. As the drivers will be weaving around to just get a little bit of heat in their tyres. As the leader of the Pro Split in tonight's race, Marvin Helgert, just goes by. Down in the The silver split. Leading on track tonight is Tom Lightbody in the Space Raiders McLaren. And then actually just behind Tom Lightbody, we have the leader of our AM split race tonight with a good margin behind is Garley. So as we approach the Curva Grande, sorry, approach a Parabolica, with the drivers lining up 2 by 2 as we get ready for the green flag for tonight's race. Just all the drivers have done all they can to get temperature into their tyres. In these wet conditions, it's going to be super important. And remains to be seen. The rain seeming like it's going to keep heavy here, but you never know. We might start to see a drying line appear. As they head down the long start-finish straight here at Monza. We get ready to get started, and it looks like Helga already with a little bit of a gap back to Gonzalez as Helga goes and has got a decent lead in the start, but it's behind. It is Tom Lightbody who's trying to go up the inside of Spike. As we come into the first corner, it does look like Lightbody has got himself ahead as we come into the first chicane. Oh, there's a little bit of bumping behind. We've got a few yellow flags out, and it looks like that is Lewis Williams round at the back. Everyone else through reasonably cleanly with just a little bit of bumping, but it's Lewis Williams who has really missed out there. And manages to pick up onto the back of the field, but that does put him last in split with just Timu Karppinen behind, as we've got a move the lead as Helga just manages to hold on to P1, and that has allowed Matthias Pentilla to get to the inside of Gabriel. As Gabriel runs wide, that is going to allow Lightbody through, and needs to be careful as he rejoins in front of Spike. So Gabriel Gonzalez has actually lost out 2 positions there, one to his split buddy of Matthias Pentilla and also to Tom Lightbody, so now actually running down in P4 is Gabriel, and it is still Marvin Helga that leads this race. As we just review the winners and losers from that first lap, it's Conor Morgan Shaw, who's started down in the 14th place in this race, up 3 positions to P11. Is running strong as Timu Karppinen tries to race to get to the back of the pack. We've got Brad Spitt looking to make a move on Lewis. I actually think it might have been Lewis Williams who was trying to attack Brad Spitt as he moves to the inside, as does Wanda on the Lexus of Morgan Shaw. Oh, as there's contact, and that has allowed Williams through past the pro driver. As Morgan, as Brad Spitt has made contact with the wall, and that has put him down into P14. Currently holding the fastest lap of the race, but that bump on the wall is not going to do his front aero any good, as Lewis Williams has made it up past Wanda. As we go back and try and get a second look at that, as they side by side coming through the Curva Grande. Williams just later on the brakes manages to get it turned in and is ahead. So for Williams, it's a good recovery after that lap 1 spin, now up into P3 in split, as Conor McDermott making a move on Amez into Ascari. Good move there from McDermott as we go see if we can get a second look at that. So he's already lining the move up as they come down that long straight towards Ascari. Moves to the inside. Good acceleration on the Audi and got his whole nose ahead as they come into the corner and had that move, had the position won before they entered the braking zone. So good strong racing there from McDermott, and that has got him up into second place in split. As just behind this we have got Actonitz trying to make his way up to join the rest of the silver split, as Gali currently is splitting him from the rest of his pack. Although Tom Lightbody, who leads the silver split, has got himself a very good buffer. Back to Conor McDermott with both Gabriel and Spike caught in between. So come around the Curva Grande on this third lap, this 45-minute race. Back at the back of the field, Brad Spitt has rejoined onto the back of Morgan Short. We head through the Lesmos, and Morgan Short not looking especially confident in these conditions. Not using as much as the track there as Spitt, as Spitt really seems to be confident in the Aston Martin, and even with that contact with the wall earlier on in the race is really showing a good pace advantage here. There's Actonitz and Gali approach the Parabolica again. Actually, it's very close up behind this. McLaren wants to get the optimal exit out of the Parabolica. He's much closer than he was last time. This could be a good run up to the first corner as Gali defends the inside. Gokken to the outside. He's going to have to get this done under braking if he wants to take the place off of Gali. There's that McLaren with its straight line speed just manages to pull ahead before the corner, and yet again Gokken Actonitz has to sit in behind the back of that McLaren, so they go around again. As it looks like Williams has got the position from Montegineo, as we get a replay of that. Again, down the start finish straight, heading into the first chicane. Lewis Williams with the outside, and just a little bit braver on the brakes than Actonitz. Well, actually, it looked like it was Montegino who ran wide, and that is what allowed Williams to get through up into P2 in the AM split. As we're beginning to get a little bit of spread in our field. Our closest battle on track is that between Gali and Actonitz as we come into Ascari. Oh, as Actonitz gets a very good exit from Ascari, and this is going to allow him to out-drag the McLaren down into the Parabolica. And well ahead before they turn in. And it looks like this is move made for Gokken Actonitz. And now the next cars in front of him will be that of his silver split. He can start to see if he can close down that gap and start racing for position. Although this pass of Actonitz has given an opportunity now to Williams, who did start this race in second in the AM split, has with an early lap spin dropped back down to the rear of the order, but now has fought his way back up and now sits just 0.8 seconds behind Gali, and is looking at the AM split win from this point in the race. Still 36 minutes to go, so anything could happen. As Gali looks to try and retake the position off of Actonitz ahead. But it is Williams who is on the charge at the moment. As they come down the back straight towards Ascari. Williams looking like he's got a little bit more in hand. Even weaving just behind the McLaren, just trying to get into his mirrors. Let him know that he's there. As he runs wide on the exit, needs to be careful he doesn't do that too much, as could be at risk of getting drive-through from track limit violations. Reminder to anyone who's not aware, in GT racing, or at least in Assetto Corsa Competizione, if you run wide 4 times, or if you are seen to gain an advantage from running wide 4 times, you get slapped with a drive-through penalty, which here at Monza can be very, very costly, with the speed difference between the live circuit and the pit lane. So drivers need to be especially careful that they do not run wide, and very easy to do, especially out of the fast chicane of Ascari. As Lewis Williams continues to attack Gali, it's looking like this is our closest battle on track at the moment. But if we check in with our lead pack at the moment, is Marvin Helgert still leading the way, followed closely behind by this car, that of Matthias Pentilla. And Pentilla just keeping with Helgert at the moment, not applying too much pressure, just sitting just over a second behind. But these two have a good advantage over Gabriel behind. And Pentilla currently holding the fastest lap of the race. That will earn him an additional point if he manages to hold on to that till the end of the race. As we've got Williams and Gali side by side as they head into Ascari. Williams just backs out of the attack. Poor, and getting very, very squirrely on exit, but has managed to carry quite a lot of speed out of Ascari and is now right under the rear wing of that McLaren. This is going to give him an opportunity to attack. Just needs to get a decent exit here from the Parabolica. As they come around, it does look like Williams has managed to take the slightly tighter line, should be able to get on the throttle earlier. And we have seen that Gali has got that McLaren set up extremely slipperily, so might be tricky for Williams to get by. But as they come down to the braking zone for the first corner, they're side by side. Williams just needs to be brave on the brakes hit, although decides to slot back in behind Gali. But it is looking like Williams has got the pace over the McLaren of Gali, and well, with just over 30 minutes remaining in this race, he's going to have plenty of opportunities to continue this attack and find a way by. So they come down into the second chicane. Is Williams going to try and take the outside? Nope, thinks better of it. Again, slots back in behind the McLaren. And these two fighting hard but fair. And the rear of that BMW looking awfully leery, as Gali not using as much of the track as Williams, going awfully defensive as they come through the Lesmos. They head down towards Ascari. battle continuing to be close, but Williams not... Oh, as of getting very, very sideways there, Williams did well to hold it. Got a real tank slapper there in the BMW. And needs to be patient. Is obviously looking a little bit frustrated there, being maybe a little eager with his inputs, and gets that BMW extremely sideways, and again just losing control as he comes to the exit of the Parabolica, and that's not going to be good for Williams, as we've got yellow flags out, and that is for Montegaglia. And well, it did look like he was battling with Brad Spitt earlier, so let's see if there's been anything to what actually... No, looks like the McLaren is all on its own at this point, so let's just see what's happened. So it just gets a little bit loose on turn-in, and then tries to apply the throttle, and the car steps away from him. He needs to be careful just to bring that back onto the track safely. Barely manages to avoid collision with the wall, but he's back underway and can start to concentrate on closing his gap to the rest of this pack. As Brad Spitt, having cleared Montegaglia, I say cleared, because Montegaglia has a spin, has allowed Brad Spitt to catch up to the back of Wanda. And Wanda just looking like he's struggling slightly, going a bit wide there on the exit of the second Lesmo. This could give Brad Spitt an opportunity to close up as they head down towards Ascari. It does look like actually Lewis Williams is past Garley and is pulling away at some rate, so we'll take a look and see what's happened here. Was it a good overtake from Williams? It looks like Williams is quite far back here, so I can only imagine that Garley has made some sort of mistake. So he turns into Ascari. Yep, you can see just catching a little bit of oversteer. And that is a hard collision with the sausage curb at the inside of Ascari. Sends the McLaren skywards, and that was, in the end, perhaps slightly scary for Williams, but not too difficult an overtake. And Garley with some work to do if he wants to retake the lead of this AM split. Up at the front of the field, it does look like Marvin Helger has managed to pull a substantial lead over Matthias Pentilla, and has also taken away the fastest lap of this race. As Pentilla maybe just pushing a little bit harder and overstepping the limits of the track, and that is not going to make him much faster. There's not going to be much grip out on the AstroTurf on the exit of the second Lesmo. We did just see some yellow flags out for Timu Karppinen, who's started this race from the pit lane, and I can only imagine suffering from some hardware failure there as he pulls to the inside. The first chicane, he's back underway again, so that's unfortunate for Karppinen, who we know is a reasonably quick driver, but I can only imagine that is facing some hardware gremlins in tonight's race. As Lewis Williams, not content with taking first place in the AM split, is now closing onto the back of Ugok and Actonets. So showing a real form of pace in these tricky conditions. And it's often said that the wet weather can become a good equaliser, as sometimes a completely different skill set to racing in the dry. We're actually beginning to see Lewis Williams showing that he's an adaptable driver and has got a much better exit from the Parabolica than his BMW driving compatriot. As they navigate the first chicane, Williams looking like he's got so much more confidence in that car, just able to get on the throttle a lot earlier than Actonets as they comes around the outside of the Curva Grande. That should give him the inside line as they come towards the second chicane. And this could provide Williams with a decent buffer over Gali and puts him more comfortably in the lead of the AM split. And that will be valuable to Williams when he considers the championship. As Brad Spitt finally makes his way past Wanda. So they come around the first of the Lesmos into the second. And it's move made for Brad Spitt. We go back and see how this move was set up. It's just a better exit out of the second chicane for Spitt. Lines that up beautifully, gets on the power and just drives straight by the McLaren of Wanda. And that puts Brad Spitt up into P3 in the AM split. Now 5.8 seconds back from Gali. He's got his work cut out if he wants to move up any further up the order. But so far, Brad Spitt has not dropped Wanda. There's still a chance for the McLaren driver to come back at him. So we're starting to see our field spread out further. We keep an eye on this battle between Spitt and Wanda. As it looks like Spitt just with that slight pace advantage there over Wanda. And just ahead of this group, it's now a battle, three-way battle, it's seemingly over P8, as it does appear Actonich, after the initial overtake on Gali earlier in the race, is now suffering a bit for pace and is now under threat from Gali. And Williams will just be hoping that these two start battling and give him an opportunity to pull away, because if Gali does manage to get himself by Actonich, it will be some added pressure for Williams. If we briefly turn our attention to the championship and the way things stand at the moment, Matthias Pentilla is currently our championship leader, sitting in P2. Will still extend his championship lead as Kieran Hudson, unfortunately absent from tonight's race, and Gabriel Gonzalez running down in P3. Marvin Helge will pick up a decent haul of points if he does stay in first position for tonight's race, and could move himself up into P3 in the championship. So it could end up being very impactful for as we head into the final two races after Monza. In terms of the Silver Championship, Teemu Karppinen is our leader there. He's currently running down in P13. But with Khalid Ramadan not running in tonight's race, it is Conor McDermott who will close the gap up most, and will be closely challenging Teemu Karppinen as we head into our final two rounds. And over in our AM split is Brad Spitt leading the way with Lewis Williams in second. It does mean Williams will close up that gap in the championship, and again will provide some real challenge as we head into the final two races. As right now, we'll keep an eye on this gap between Williams, Actonitz and Garley as they head into the Parabolica. This battle could potentially be quite impactful for the standings, as both Williams and Garley are battling out over P2 in the championship. This battle just ebbing and flowing in terms of the pace. I wonder if there are some setup differences here between the two BMWs, which are giving them strengths in different parts of the track. We did see that Williams did seem to have that straight line advantage over Actonitz. As these three have been trading lap times over the past few laps. Not much to choose between them. Actonitz with his last lap. Sorry, Williams with his last lap with a 1:56.97. Actonitz with a 1:57.0, and Garley on a 1:57.3. As Marvin Helge sets another fastest lap of the race, this time a 1:54.5. That is 7/10 faster than Pentilla behind, and this gap is only widening as the race goes on. But Marvin Helge really getting comfortable with these wet conditions here at Monza. Currently with a 5-second lead over Matthias Pentilla. Doesn't need to take any risks. This is a driver who had a few unfortunate incidents in the early races in this championship. This is usually extremely fast, as we have seen tonight, and will be wanting to gain points wherever he can in order to try and win this championship. Although he's currently sitting down in 4th position, still wouldn't rule him out for championship contention. We have seen Marvin Helge, also known as Fraser within the FRS community, having some exceptional runs of form. Check back in with the battle between Williams, Actonitz and Garley. These drivers still just sitting just a second and a half apart from each other. It does seem that they have separated somewhat into their relative paces, with Williams being the fastest of the three, followed by Actonitz and Garley. As we've got yellow flags out on the first Lesmo for Guido Montalcino. Go back and see what has happened here. Oh, just looks like a lock-up under braking has caused that McLaren to go right round. Manages to get it back facing in the right direction. Ooh, struggling to find traction. As I have just seen flash up also a yellow flag for Conor McDermott. That does seem to be still going okay. We'll just get a replay of what that might have been for. They head down into the first corner. Oh, just yeah, doing the sensible thing there, and realising he was locked up the front tyres, wasn't going to make the corner, just aborts the corner and sensibly through the mobile chicane, or the, it's not mobile chicane, the temporary chicane there. And no harm, no foul. Managed just to get underway without too much incident. As the gap between Brad Spitt and Garley ahead is beginning to shrink. Has come down from just over 5.5 seconds down to 3.2 seconds, with 15 minutes of this race still remaining. Every opportunity that Brad Spitt might be able to start to close in on the car ahead of him. We come round the parabolica. The gap to Garley ahead has come down by a further half a second. It does seem that Garley also closing now onto the back of Actonets. And if Actonets is going to start to hold Garley up, this could be an opportunity for Brad Spitt, who, as we have seen, has got some pace in that Aston Martin. The front engine cars probably just finding a little bit more stability around this circuit in these tricky conditions. But that gap now coming down further still, now sitting at 1.8 seconds between Garley and Spitt. At this late point in the race, it is Brad Spitt who is finding the pace. As we've got yellow flags out for Gabriel. Managed to get going again. What has happened there for the Honda drive? Oh! We didn't quite catch the start of it, but that is a big impact into the wall. Managed to get going again, but surely that is going to be not good for the front aero of that Honda. And that is going to be big damage for our driver, who's currently sitting P3 in the championship and is surely going to be under pressure soon from Tom Lightbody. We'll keep an eye on that gap, but we'll check in now with Brad Spitt, who is now right on the back of Garley, who's dropped away a bit from Actonets, maybe just having to look in his mirrors just a bit more. But it is Brad Spitt who is on a charge at this point in the race. And is looking to take P2 in the AM split. And Garley, who started this race so strongly, the grid position of P6, currently now down in P10 and under threat from Brad Spitt. It has to be said, our real winner for or the biggest winner from tonight's race is Lewis Williams, who started down in P12, currently up 4 positions into P8, leading his split and looking to take away a good haul of points, barring any mistakes in the rest of this race. As they exit Ascari. There's good traction there for Spitt. So they come down towards the Parabolica. There seems to be a good exit from Spit. Got good closing speed at this point. I'm not sure if it's going to be quite enough for him to catch up to the back of Gali. As Gali goes defensive, could create an opportunity. Or Spit is late on the brakes, or maybe just a little bit too late on the brakes, and potentially should have just disappeared onto the escape road and has now lost a chunk of time to Gali ahead. As we're back underway. Spit now 2.5 seconds off the back of Gali. He's got that all to make up again, and with just 10 minutes remaining in this race, there is a chance that that was Spit's one and only opportunity for the move in this race. But with 0.4 of a second, the difference between their previous lap times, there is still a chance for Spit. He does definitely have the pace here around this Monza circuit in these conditions, but needs to capitalise on that in order to make the move and get by the McLaren of Gali. Gali, who does just seem to be picking up the pace last time round, did put in his personal best best lap of the race, so is, although not faster than Spit, is beginning to find some confidence and needs to just continue to push. He's currently extended this gap out to 3 seconds, so he's comfortably holding on to P10 in this race at the moment. As they both have crossed the line. Spit, who lost out by 3 seconds on that lap, has got a lot of work still to do if they want to take P2 in the AM split. Although Gali has now closed back up onto the back of Actonets. He's going to want to try and get by if he can. Otherwise risks getting held up. Actonets last time round with a 1:57.4. Gali just 2 laps ago on a 1:56.9. Has got a half a second in hand over Actonets. And we know that Spit has even more in hand. So this could be a real threat for Gali. He needs to just get a bit more aggressive on the BMW ahead. He wants to hold on to this P2 in split. As we, in the last 8 minutes of this race, we have got now a battle brewing over P2 in the silver split, as Alex Ames has closed up that gap to Conor McDermott ahead. And could this be a late charge for the BMW driver, who has thus far just been happy to sit in behind McDermott? A reminder to those who are new to the FRS GT Series, Alex Ames started this season down in the AM split, earned himself an early promotion after a strong performance in the opening round, and is now challenging for P2 in the silver split in this race. He's a driver who's shown some real improvement over the season. As we head towards the final 5 minutes of this race, it's now closed that gap up to Conor McDermott to less than a second. And this could give us an interesting battle in the dying moments of this race. As we watch this battle, we can continue to keep an eye on that gap between Spit and Gali, as it's now come down to 1.7 seconds. And Gali is still unable to find his way past Actonitz. Is going to become under increasing pressure. But the driver under the most pressure now is Conor McDermott, with Alex Amez right on his back. McDermott taking the defensive line into Parabolica, perhaps fearing that the BMW was closer than it actually was, and this could give Amez the opportunity to get the slipstream down towards the first chicane, and it is a great slipstream there for Amez. He's right under the spoiler of the Audi, pulls out to the outside. It's going to be a tricky move to make from there, but if he can just edge the nose ahead into the braking zone. Oh, as he turns in early. Oh, and Alex Amez with the mistake tries to cover off the Audi, but I think he just didn't quite realise he was there. I'm not sure if Alex Amez runs with the radar enabled, but I would recommend that after this race he certainly turns that on. As we go to the helicam, you can just see. Not sure if Amez moved across to go defensive, but with the Audi so close alongside him, it was only ever going to end one way. Now Amez finding himself under pressure from the charging Lewis Williams. And must imagine that there's a substantial damage to the front of the car of Amez, as that was quite a heavy shunt into the pit wall. As Lewis Williams makes his way by. With that little bit of a body gap there in the front of the BMW of Alex Amez, must imagine there's a substantial amount of drag on the front of that car, and that is going to affect his straight line speed, which is ever so important here at this Monza circuit. Alex Amez, the driver who early on in this race, or just before this race started, came into the chat of the stream to say, good luck, don't jinx me, and well, I fear that that may have happened, so I can only apologise. We check back in with our battle for P2 in the AM split. It's now getting awfully close between Actonitz, Gali and Spit. These three drivers, each within a second of each other. As they start what I imagine will be the... we should have 2 more laps after this one, so still every opportunity for moves to be made. As Marvin Helge starts what will be the penultimate lap of this race. And does look like these three quite evenly matched at the moment, as Conor McDermott has picked up a 5-second penalty from race control for causing a collision. As we will go back and see if we can get a replay of that again. Oh. Still not certain about that one, but the stewards have deemed that Conor McDermott was at fault for that instant, and he gets what is now a 10-second penalty for his troubles, and well, that will drop the Audi driver back substantially down the order. And by my reckoning at the moment would put Conor McDermott down to P11 in this race, just behind Garley. So Conor McDermott needs to get his head down and start to push if he wants to try and extend that gap any to protect himself from dropping too many positions. Brad Spitt has made his way past Garley. I missed where that happened, so we'll go back and see if we can catch a replay of that. It seems like it might be here as they come down the start-finish straight. Spitt with a decent overspeed moves to the outside. Reasonably late on the brakes, takes the outside line. Nicely done there by Spitt. Closes off the opportunity for a defensive move by Garley, and that is Brad Spitt up into P2 in the AM class. Some very good driving that. As we're now on to the final lap of this race. Is Marvin Helge, who's currently coming down the back straight towards Ascari. Now heading into the final sector, and with just a couple more turns to go. Not quite sure why the session has ended. Not quite sure what's happened here. But as Marvin Helge rounds the final corner to take the checkered flag and takes the win here at Monza. He'll be followed home by Matthias Pentilla. Gabriel Gonçalves and Tom Lightbody. So I apparently now do have control again. Apologies for that, everyone. And it will be Spike, who takes P5 in the race. And rounding the final corner now. Is Conor McDermott takes P5 as he crosses the line, but that will drop him down as he takes that 10-second penalty. As Alex Ames, I believe, will take P2 in the silver split. We return to the garage. We can go to oh, no, we can't. It skipped to the next session. Okay. Well, I will try to get confirmation of the racing order. I believe we had Marvin Helge winning the race, with Matthias Pentilla and Gabriel Gonçalves rounding out the top three, which should close up the championship considerably. And next time out, the FRS GT Series will be heading to Mount Panorama. And then in a couple weeks after that, we will have our season finale in Misano. So do tune in next time. If you have enjoyed this broadcast, please do like and subscribe. Until next time, have a very lovely rest of your day.